Fear is a universal experience. Every one of us faces it at some point in our lives. Whether it's the fear of failure, rejection, judgment, or uncertainty, fear is a constant companion. But what if I told you that fear doesn't have to hold you back? What if, instead of being a force that paralyzes you, fear could be the very thing that propels you forward? In this video, we are going to dive deep into the truth about fear. We will uncover how fear can be reframed from an enemy to an ally, how it can be used as a tool to propel you toward your goals, and how to embrace fear as the catalyst for transformation. It's time to stop avoiding fear and start using it as fuel for success. Fear is not something to be avoided. It's something to be understood, harnessed, and used to move you forward. I want you to imagine, for a moment, a life where fear no longer holds you back, where fear becomes a motivator, an ally in your journey to greatness. Let's dive into this powerful transformation. Understanding fear. Before we can overcome fear, we need to understand it. Fear is a natural, biological response to perceived danger. It is deeply embedded in our evolutionary past. When we experience fear, our bodies react in a way that is designed to protect us. Our heart rate increases, our muscles tense, and we become hyper-aware of our surroundings. This is the fight or flight response, a survival mechanism that kept our ancestors alive when facing threats. However, the fear we experience today is different. For most of us, the fear we face isn't life-threatening. It's fear of failure, fear of being judged, or fear of making a mistake. Yet, our brains still react to these fears as if they are life or death situations. This is where the problem lies. When we let this irrational fear control us, we miss out on opportunities for growth. Fear is not the problem, it's our response to it that matters. The key to overcoming fear is to recognize it for what it is, a signal. Fear is simply telling you that you are stepping out of your comfort zone, that you are about to face something new. And that is exactly where growth happens. The real question is, how will you respond to fear? Will you let it control you? Or will you use it to your advantage? The power of reframing fear. Once we understand fear, the next step is to reframe it. Instead of seeing fear as an obstacle, we can choose to see it as an opportunity. Fear is a signal that you are stepping into new territory, that you are about to grow, and that you are on the verge of something great. To reframe fear, ask yourself these two questions. What's the worst that can happen? It's easy to imagine the worst-case scenario. But when you really break it down, you'll often realize that it's not as bad as you think. Most of the time, the worst thing that could happen is something you can bounce back from. Failure is not fatal, it's a learning experience. What's the best that can happen? This is the key to reframing fear. Instead of focusing on what could go wrong, focus on what could go right. What if you succeed beyond your wildest dreams? What if the fear you feel right now is a signal that you are on the verge of something extraordinary? When you reframe fear in this way, it becomes less intimidating and more motivating. Fear becomes a tool for success rather than a roadblock to it. The role of action in overcoming fear. There's a saying that courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the willingness to act despite fear. Action is the antidote to fear. The more we act in spite of our fears, the less power fear has over us. Each step we take forward, no matter how small, diminishes fear's hold on us. When you take action in the face of fear, you are sending a powerful message to yourself. I will not be controlled by my fear. I will face it, and I will move forward. This simple act of courage builds momentum and confidence. And before you know it, fear starts to lose its grip on you. Taking action also has another benefit. It builds experience. Every time you take a step forward, you gain more confidence in your ability to overcome fear. You start to realize that the things you feared were not as intimidating as they once seemed. With each small victory, your fear begins to shrink, and your courage grows. Real-life example, Sarah Blakely. Let me share a real-life example of someone who used fear as fuel to create something extraordinary, Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx. When Sarah started her journey, she was just like most of us, afraid of failure, rejection, and judgment. She had no business experience, no connections, and no investor backing, but she had an idea, and she had a lot of fear. Sarah was afraid that people would laugh at her. She was afraid of being rejected. She was afraid that she would waste all of her time and energy on something that wouldn't work. But instead of letting those fears stop her, Sarah leaned into them. Every rejection, Every no became a stepping stone toward her success. She didn't give up after the first failure, the second, or the 100th. She kept going. And today, Spanx is a billion-dollar company. Sarah Blakely used fear as her fuel. And now she is one of the most successful entrepreneurs in the world. How to rewire your brain to embrace fear. Now that we understand how to reframe and act in the face of fear, let's talk about how to rewire our brains to embrace fear rather than resist it. Recognize fear as an opportunity for growth. Instead of seeing fear as a threat, choose to see it as a sign that you are growing, that you are moving forward. Every time you face your fear, you are expanding your comfort zone. Visualize success. Visualization is one of the most powerful tools we have to rewire our brains. When you visualize yourself succeeding, it helps you feel more confident and less afraid. Close your eyes and imagine what it would feel like to overcome your fear and achieve your goal. Practice exposure. The more you expose yourself to the things that scare you, the less intimidating they become. Start small. If you're afraid of public speaking, begin by speaking in front of a mirror, then to a friend, and gradually work your way up to larger audiences. Each exposure builds your confidence and reduces the power of fear. Celebrate small wins. Every small action you take in the face of fear is a victory. Celebrate it. Recognizing and celebrating your progress reinforces the idea that fear is not something to be afraid of. It's something you can handle. The power of resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from setbacks, to keep going when things get tough. And resilience is one of the most powerful tools you can develop in overcoming fear. Life is full of challenges, but the key to success is not avoiding them, it's learning how to navigate them. Each time you face a challenge, you build resilience. Every time you overcome fear, you prove to yourself that you are capable of handling whatever comes your way. Resilience is built through perseverance. It's built through not giving up, even when things seem impossible. Fear doesn't make you weak. It shows you where you need to grow, and how you can get stronger. Fear is not a force that needs to control you. It is a powerful tool that can propel you toward greatness. The more you face your fears, the more confident and resilient you become. You don't need to be fearless, you just need to take action. Even when fear is present, every time you do, you grow. Every time you act despite fear, you take one step closer to unlocking your potential. The choice is yours. Will you let fear control you? Or will you use it to fuel your success? Fear will always be there. It's up to you how you choose to respond. Take action today. Face your fear, reframe it, and turn it into an opportunity. I challenge you today to take the first step toward your fear. Don't let it control you. Don't wait for it to go away. Take action, and turn that fear into fuel for your success. Share your story with us in the comments. What fear are you ready to face? And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more powerful insights on mastering your mindset and creating the life you deserve. Let's go, together, beyond fear.
Enjoyed this? Don't just watch it, like, share your vibe in the comments, and subscribe to join the journey. Let's make it epic.